This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one-hour podcast, interviewing people from all walks of life, having fun, encouraging, uplifting conversations, with great music as well. Kick back and relax. This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one-hour podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chit and Chat, the encouraging one-hour podcast. I'm your host, Jody Shotto. So glad to have you back for another brand new episode. Great music, great tunes, and fun people here on the show. If this is your first time checking us out, thank you so much. Maybe this is your multiple times of checking the many shows out. Thank you as well. Every week, brand new interviews, brand new music, sharing stories of encouragement and positivity for you today. So glad you're here. I'm going to introduce our music today and our guest today. The songs we have on today, the first one is the group called the Whythouse. They're from Ontario, Canada. I'm working with them to get them on the show. Playing their song called Urban Country. Later in the show, you'll hear a song by the Hipocrats. They are from Seattle, Washington. Their song is called Leaving. And my guest today, we head down to the great state of Texas and be chatting with singer-songwriter from Rip Honey Records, with the gal who comes from Southern Blues, influence, country, Americana, Canada. Several genres she sings from. She is from Central Texas. She is one of the best kept secrets since the Yellow Rose, Texas, and she has nearly 4,000 followers on social media. Excited to hear her and about her story. Singer-songwriter Samantha. So get back, relax for a fun time, some laughter, some great tunes, and some encouragement for you today on Chit and Chat, the encouraging one-hour podcast. Our next tune is by the Whythouse called Urban Country. It's a little bit of urban, a little bit of country smashed together to create a good, feel-good vibe.
Give me that urban country. It ain't about all the bitches and money. I'm talking whiskey, beer, and a tailgate full of sand. And a tailgate full of sand. Raise your glass up if you can't get enough. Want all the love, let's roll some up. And if you're getting high, throw your hands up in the air. Moved from the city that they call the dot. My roots were something that I never forgot. Glacial Boulevard was the only spot, and we could be free. We always ran from the cops, and now rolling the truck down the highway, feeling the breeze on my face. Looking forward to a better day. This good country living is the only way. Give me that urban country. It ain't about all the bitches and money. I'm talking whiskey, beer, and a tailgate full of sand. And a tailgate full of sand. Raise your glass up if you can't get enough. Want all the love, let's roll some up. And if you're getting high, throw your hands up in the air. We got bluegrass playing on the porch a lot. Every weekend is a party that goes non-stop. It's a slow-paced vibe, we don't stress a lot. Getting money on the weekend, taking a shot and rolling the truck down the highway, feeling the breeze on my face. Looking forward to a better day. This good country living is the only way. Give me that urban country. It ain't about all the bitches and money. I'm talking whiskey, beer, and a tailgate full of sand. And a tailgate full of sand. Raise your glass up if you can't get enough. Want all the love, let's roll some up. And if you're getting high, throw your hands up in the air. Life in the country can't get better than do the bitches and money. Let your body do the rockin', now you don't stop. Until you feel the same, you don't stop. Let your body do the rockin', now you don't stop. Let your body do the rockin', now you don't stop. Let your body do the rockin', now you don't stop. Don't stop, don't stop. Give me that urban country. Give me about all the bitches and money. Bitches and money. Beer in a tailgate full of sand. In a tailgate full of sand. Raise your ass up, rolling the truck down the highway. Feeling the breeze on my face. Looking forward to a better day. This good girl living is the only way. Give me that urban country. Give me about all the bitches and money. Bitches and money. Beer in a tailgate full of sand. Raise your ass up if you can't get enough. Want all the love? Let's roll some up. If you're getting high, throw your hands up in the air.
Good song there by the Whythouse called Urban Country here on Chit and Chat.
Hello there.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Good to hear from you.
Welcome to Chit and Chat.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Samantha Lynn, and we're can't wait to talk with her, hear about her music, kind of who's inspired her. But before we dive into some fun conversations, I like to throw some icebreaker questions at you to get your thinking cap on, and it's not hard. It's pretty easy. I went easy on you this time. Are you ready?
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. What do you got for me?
Can you name a few of your favorite songs that you rock out to? Maybe you ask Alexa to play them and just kind of rock out to a few of your favorite songs around the house.
So, well, anything by Led Zeppelin, of
Okay,
course.
okay.
You know, they have such a great energy about them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they're always on the playlist, no matter what kind of mood I'm in. That's for sure. That's one of those bands. Let me think. A specific song that's always, gosh, you know, I almost want to say, I know this sounds cheesy, but all my exes live in Texas, you know?
Yes, from Texas.
I think that's one of those songs that I've just listened to a million times.
Yeah,
Oh,
I love. I like doing karaoke, and I did "Amarillo by Morning" often. That's a long song, but it's a really fun song to sing. I'm from Arkansas originally, so yeah, I'm with you.
yes, I love George Strait. I even have a shirt that has Amarillo by Morning on it. So, you know, I gotta let you borrow it sometime.
Well, I might see you in a little bit. We'll discuss that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
What was your very first concert you ever attended?
My very first one. Oh my gosh. Well, so I know sounds so ridiculous, but going back to George Strait, it was actually George Strait when I was like 7 or 8. But you know,
Wow.
it was the first concert I went to,
Okay.
but I was like a child and I didn't make it. I had to leave. Yeah. So I went, that's my first intended concert. But I think the first one that I actually went to and heard all the way through was probably when I was a teenager, when I was with a bunch of friends. It was like Blink-182 or something like that.
Okay. So they didn't quite make the first concert, huh?
Yeah, so that was my first concert that I was taken to, and then I guess, you know, I got fussy and, you know, after enough candy or whatever, I was like, no, I don't care. Sorry, Mr. Straight, I gotta go.
I gotta go. Yeah, sugar rush.
Exactly.
Number 3, being from the great state of Texas, do you have a go-to meal? Something you've got to always have if you're, you know, steak or burgers or barbecue? What's your go-to?
Well, definitely barbecue and Tex-Mex. You know, there's nothing like a good, you know, brisket taco or, you know, smoked turkey. You know, queso margaritas are my snack of choice.
Mm.
Like if anyone were to say, what's your snack go to, it's queso and margaritas, you know. But definitely being from Texas, definitely my barbecue, my Tex-Mex, 2 things that I think I have them once a week, to be honest. Actually, last night on the way to my gig, I actually got a smoked turkey sandwich from the barbecue. Joy.
I'm thinking of Homer Simpson.
Oh my gosh.
Barbecue.
You ask me these
Barbecue.
questions. I just sound so typical.
So where you're from in Texas, give us a little tour, put your tour guide hat on. 3 hot spots in the area. Where you from? And just kind of give us a little tour guide of some places to see in your neck of the woods.
So I live right near Green, Texas, and it's a early settlement that was developed. First, the Indians found it. I think we have a bunch of springs here. And then the German settlers found it. A prince actually came and founded our city. So we have a rich culture in German history. We have the biggest Wurstfest festival. San Antonio is right down the road if you go south, and if you go right up north, Austin's right there. So I'm like actually right in the middle of San Antonio and Austin. And so it's a really interesting place to be. Green Hall is right here. It's famous for, just being one of the oldest dance halls in Texas. So it's a nice place to be from, and we have that big water park, Schlitterbahn. Everyone always hears about that.
Nice. And final icebreaker question is: you get a 2-week paid vacation anywhere in the world. Where are you going and why?
Where would I go if I had 2 weeks? Jeez. Well, I know in 2 weeks I'm going to be hanging out there in the Pacific Northwest, and I love it. I love being up there. Yeah. It's beautiful. I love all the hiking and all the trails. If I had 2 weeks just to go anywhere I wanted to.
You want one of those little houses on the water down in like Bermuda or somewhere, with the slide and the clear blue water, or you want like Italy or,
You know what? There's actually this in Peru. I know this sounds really odd, but in Peru, there's these huge tree houses that you have to walk on these huge bridges, and you stay in these trees. And it's in this really beautiful, I guess, scenic area. If you know me well, you know that I really love nature and just the scenic beauty of things. And so I think I've always wanted to go and sit and write and hang out just in a tree, just in nature, because I feel like there's so much to explore. Because you can go to museums and you can go see pictures of places and architecture, but sometimes nature itself can be extremely scary and extremely beautiful all at the same time.
You get away from the traffic, get away from the busyness, just hearing the crickets or the birds,
Yeah, exactly. But I think even in somewhere like that, you would hear all the kind of wild animals, but you'd be safe because you'd be hanging in the tree,
There you go. For those out there who might not know who you are, give us a little brief bio on who you are.
So my name is Samantha. I'm a singer-songwriter located outside of Austin, Texas. I cut my teeth running around these roads, playing music in dance halls, dive bars, honky tonks. I've played in barns, played, big stages, little stages, anywhere and everywhere they'll let me go and share my songs and my story. I come from pretty humble beginnings, but I got a good message to send out. So it's always nice to take a piece of me, take a bit of Texas and spread it around the United States.
Share a little bit about your story and kind of where you began and when, what age did really music begin to draw you in, and you felt like you would need to be a singer or songwriter, and kind of that little portion of your story growing up.
Yes, so I actually, my dad was a drummer in a jam band, and my mom, she played guitar when they were teens, but they were hobbyists. It wasn't anything that they did professionally or recorded their music or anything like the kind of how I'm doing. But so I come from a musical family, so to speak. It was always encouraged in my house, and so I taught myself how to play guitar. Ask Santa for something several years in a row, well, you're bound to get it, So that was kind of one of those situations where when I was like 11 or 12, I got a Jasmine Takamine from Santa, and I started playing that. Now I grew up, when my dad got out of the Air Force, we lived in Seguin, Texas, and it's a very small town. There wasn't really much going on, you know. Like I think we had a movie theater that had like two showings, you know, that would go on at the same time, and that was the big to do in town. But so there was a lot of just going to the river, fishing, and tubing, and doing things like doing simple things like that. And so naturally I learned how to just uh, entertain myself, teaching myself how to play guitar. I'd get those. I'd ask my dad to get me those guitar player magazines, and then they'd have the music in them. And so I'd sit there and I'd teach myself because they'd have the little chords and diagrams and whatnot. And
Mhm.
so I did that, and my grandfather, he encouraged me to do mariachi music. And I didn't know anything about speaking Spanish or singing in Spanish, but I was quite the people pleaser, being a child. I did. We were, I was new to Texas because, like I said, my dad grew up, or, being in the him being in the Air Force, we grew up all over the place. So of course, when we did move to Texas, I kind of did want to get in touch with who I was, because I was at that time, like I was around like 12, around that age where you're kind of more aware of what's going on. You don't quite understand anything. So I did my first show was at the Jackson Auditorium when I was 12 years old, and that was my first taste of being on a stage. And even though I didn't know what I was saying, it was a very big experience of seeing how I could affect people, and how just how fulfilled it was for me. How I realized, like, I guess I started realizing that then at that point, that was something that I was capable of doing, and that I loved the joy that I brought to other people. And then so naturally, as I got older, I started writing my own songs when I was like a late teenager, and then started being confident enough to go and sing them out in public at songwriter nights and stuff. There's a lot of songwriter nights down here in Texas. And so started doing that. And then, one thing leads to another. You go to enough of them songwriting circles, and you'll start meeting boys that want to back you up and play guitar for you. And so,
How
that's how I guess if you want to hear the full story, you want me to get my boots in the mud. That's how it started.
the floor is all yours. I mean, this is the Samantha show right now, so you can take it away. How
I know sometimes you don't even get me started. I could just rattle on and on and on about myself.
I don't mind at all. How important was encouragement for you? I mean, that's so cool. Your parents, that you're kind of from a musical family. My dad was always playing the guitar. He tried to teach me a few times, and I was like, I want to do sports and play by. And I'm 53 years old now, and I kind of wish I should have, could have, would have learned the guitar a little bit. But how important was that for you, getting that encouragement from your folks, from friends, and just kind of encourage you along the way?
Well, I would say my family encouraged me until they were like, okay, this isn't cute anymore. They're like, you need to get a real job. You need to take it seriously. And I was like, no, I'm done with school. I'm moving to Austin. I'm going to be a folk singer. And so it was a lot of pushback. I guess so. It wasn't always encouraging, but I kind of felt like there wasn't anything else not that there's nothing else that I wouldn't want to do, or that I couldn't do, because I've done other things, but this is just something that it's always been a big part of my life, even if I wasn't getting paid for it. And even if I wasn't creating my own original music, I think in some form I would still be involved
What,
in singing music, or involved in it.
were there other musicians or music you listen to and go, "Ooh, I could do that. I like that style or genre," or you kind of piece that together to make your own style?
Oh yes, and I feel like every musician and songwriter's like that, because I do believe we all feed off of each other. Part of the job is always going out and learning new music, or listening to new music, or learning other people's songs. And with so many different songwriters and different genres, and people out there, there's always something new to be inspired by.
What you're in Texas. You should be singing country, not kind of Americana folk, right?
Yeah, I do get a little pushback on that too, but I do the country music. I'm a huge fan of Hank Williams.
Okay, okay. One double check
All the
there.
Hank Williams, the second, third, fourth, and all of them.
What do you like most about music? I mean, is it just kind of? I've talked to musicians, a lot of musicians, and sometimes it's healing, sometimes the words are kind of like poetry. What's music mean to you?
I think it's a wonderful way for people to be able to connect because I think we all go through the same feelings, but we all have different ways of expressing it. And there's something that's just so powerful about a song where we can all be together and be like, oh, I've been there, I know it. But we can all be from different walks of life. We can all be different races. We can all be different economic statuses. We can all be so different in so many different ways, but something like a song can really truly bring so many people together. And to me, music is just so powerful in the way it's able to unite, be that equalizer of like, we've all been there kind of. We all have the same emotions.
Do you recall the first song you wrote?
Yes, I do. I think I was 14, the first song I wrote. And I don't think it was very good. But I do remember kind of not thinking much of it and then kind of tossing it to the side, and then my dad kind of sitting me down and being like, Samantha, that was something very serious. He made me realize that what I was doing was something bigger, almost in a sense bigger than myself. In a sense that I was taking an emotion and I was creating something original. And I guess at that time I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was just kind of I don't know. I guess I was just doing it. I don't know how to say it.
You kind of learned over the years, how to, really.
I learned how to cultivate it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I learned how to realize, okay, what I'm writing down is more than just me just writing down words of how I'm feeling. It's also a way for me to be able to like help people or connect with people and, get a message out there, I guess. Or, get into people's subconscious in a way.
Gotcha.
In a good way.
Can you share a little? You mentioned about seeing honky tonks and all kinds of places. What were the first places you went on stage? Were you a little nervous, or was it? How did that go for you?
Oh man, well, there's always so many emotions. Well, and here in Texas too, you got to understand a lot of these open mics and all these places. It's a lot of all of the floors wood, the walls are wood, everything's real wood, and it's been there for a real long time, and so it has this really nice echoing like way it chambers. So sometimes almost the silence right when you sit down, that can be the most that silence, because you can really hear the silence in those wood rooms, especially when they're listening rooms, because we as down here in Texas, we take our songwriting very seriously. A lot of songwriters come out of Texas.
Do you have is there a ritual you do before you go on stage, pray or just kind of meditate or something before you hit the stage, or do you kind of get yourself
I always give my praise to Jesus. Right. Always. That's a staple. That goes without, I wouldn't be able to be who I am if it weren't for his grace, So definitely Jesus is always one of those things personally that I don't make an effort to make, to make all the guys in the band pray with me or anything, but I do take a moment to myself to thank him and to do that. And then of course, get the cough drop and get a hot tea and kind of talk to my band. If I'm having a full band, kind of just touch base with everyone and make sure we're all on the same page and everyone's energy's up. Cause sometimes it's not just all about me, especially when you're working together with other people, you gotta make sure everybody else is in a good mood and they're feeling things, because you never know what they're going through and everyone has their own battles. So it's always nice to kind of Know what's going on. Share the stage
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people you know.
God's given you a gift of music, and music is a ministry, and you're kind of sharing that with the world. Especially now on a podcast, I'm worldwide, so many people will hear your songs and hear your stories. So I'm excited to kind of get your name out there as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Welcome.
I appreciate it.
Do you recall some piece of advice that you kind of received throughout your career that kind of helped you along your musical journey?
You know what? And this is going to sound silly, but the biggest piece of advice that I've ever gotten was take 5 more minutes.
Okay.
I remember the first time I heard it, I almost got offended. I said, "Did that old man just tell me to take 5 more minutes?" But then I realized, okay, kind of almost giving yourself patience to
Mm.
kind of nurture what you've created. Not just create it and go, "Here, everybody, here's what it is," but then take 5 minutes to go, "Okay, now what did I just create?" Then take 5 minutes. Well, how can I make this better?
Oh,
5 minutes. Am I sure the right message is getting across? So I think that was the biggest piece of advice I've ever gotten that resonates with me to this day is don't just rush into it. Take 5 minutes to make sure everything's all right.
that sounds like a
Even but hey,
song. That
it,
sounds like a song. I'm just saying.
well, Jody, you might be onto something.
I,
This moment might inspire a song, and I might come up there in Washington and be like, "All right, Jody, I got your song."
I have a gift of sharing stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
I'm playing.
inspiration
Yeah,
comes
there you go.
comes from
Inspiration.
everywhere.
There you go. I'm playing two of your songs today. Love to get a little feedback on each of them if you don't mind. I'm playing
Of course.
Dirty Little Secret, and I'm playing People Today. You want to share about those songs a little bit?
Yes, yes. So which one would you like me to dive into first?
Whichever one you want.
Well, Dirty Little Secret. I was living in Austin, on the east side of Austin, when I was young, and it's one of those songs that's kind of, you never know who you're dealing with, right? You think you know someone, but you'll never know,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
And I feel like sometimes we all go through that. So when I wrote that song, it was like this moment right when I'd found something out about someone. And it wasn't something that you necessarily want to share, because it's not something that's the most positive thing. Um, but there's nothing you can really do except sit back and watch the situation unfold, especially because with us all being as adults, you can't exactly just jump into someone else's life, get in their face and say, "Hey, this is what you got to do." As much as we'd all love to do that, and as much as we love to be there for each other, sometimes it's just, you can say, "Hey," that song was really written about that moment right after I found it,
Hmm.
right before I could tell anybody.
Gotcha.
That moment where the air was taken out of you, and that's all these things are racing in your head. That's kind of so I guess that song was written about a moment,
Kind of about
you know.
a gut punch, kind of thinking about
Yeah, that in that 1 second, I found out this person's dirty little secret. I wanted to get them help. I knew there wasn't anything I could do because you can't really help someone that don't want to help themselves, And that's kind of one of those things you could just kind of you got to rely on. You fall. All you got at that point is you fall back on your faith.
And I love the spin you did on the song "People Today." Like the spin. I like this is truly this song could be a great road trip song, and I love road trips. Crank it up,
Oh,
windows
thank
down,
you.
hit the road, just drive.
Yes, yes. We had some amazing musicians, and I had a pleasure being a co-producer and being able to put my 2 cents in and really making sure that everything that I said, the music was just right there accompanying with it, because it's not a negative song and it's not a positive song. It's just, I feel like it's just one of those songs, kind of almost like a Woody Guthrie or Bob Dylan, where you're just telling the songs of the words of just what's going on in the world. You're just telling the story. you know it's no bias, it's no this, it's no that. It's kind of just, well, here's the state of things. So
There you go.
you know Simply Said, with some really good guitar parts and violin parts, and some boys there that are actually from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, get
Yeah,
them on the
Andrew
show to share about
Jocelyn.
that song as well. Hey.
Yeah, so Andrew Jocelyn, he's out of Washington there, and he's playing all the violin parts on there. I know he does some work with the Head and the Heart, and with I know he did some recording with Macklemore too, out of Seattle. So it was an honor to be able to get him on the strings. I know we call it fiddle down here in Texas, but yeah, I know y'all a little fancier up there in the Northwest. Y'all call it violin or orchestrated string parts.
There you go. I'm
If
from
you ask
Arkansas,
me,
so
I just say the fiddle part.
yeah. I watched Hee Haw when I was a kid. I saw the banjo and all the instruments back in the days.
Nice. Oh, I love Hee Haw. Yeah, didn't that Casey Musgraves, didn't she do a music video where she did kind of like almost like a version of Hee Haw? It was cute. One of her old videos.
I actually had Lulu Roman on my podcast, who was on Hee Haw a number of years ago, and shared about her music and her being on Hee Haw. It was really, really fun talking to her. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow. I bet that was a hoot.
Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. How has your music style evolved over the years? And how long have you actually been singing? You realize I've been singing for X amount of years, and look where I am today.
Woo! Yeah. I mean, I've been singing so we're talking like singing, like where I realized that I was better than ever, like, than like my, peers, or like, was it like a singing where I was like, I was doing professionally, or, because I feel like there's so many different eras of my singing career. Because I used to sing just to sing, and then it wasn't until I got like in choirs and stuff where I started getting singled out to do solos and stuff, where I realized, oh, I'm excelling at this more than my peers. Okay, this is something that I'm really good at. So there was that kind of self-awareness,
Okay.
and then you go into the era of like, oh, like people want me to be on or I'm favored on stage, and so that's like its own awakening in itself to be able to do that. And then when you start getting paid for it, well, that's a whole nother ball game.
When money's involved, yes.
Yeah. So I feel like with my singing and with the music there, it's just been like a different era of my of growth, that you evolve into.
What was that like when someone came to you, company XYZ, and said, "Hey, we love your music. We want you to be part of us. We want love to get with you and do some albums." What was that like for you? Did you pinch yourself going, "Is this real?"
All the time. Jody, all the time. All the time. Every day there's something going on where I'm like, is this really my life? Do I really get to do this? And I'm like, praise Jesus. I don't know what I'm doing right, but I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And hopefully the blessings still keep coming in. But yeah, so I've just um some of the mentors that I've had, one of my mentors was Hal Catchum. He used to come by. I used to live in the same town
Oh, I
with him.
love
He
his
was the
music.
guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy who did Small Town
Yep.
Saturday Night. You
Yep.
know what
Yep.
I'm talking
Oh
about, right?
man.
Oh, he's classic. So anyways, so he used to we used to live in the same town in Wimberley, and this was of course later in his life, and I was young, so he would come over and he would give me some songwriting tips. And I actually took a lot of his lessons to the studio when I went to London Bridge. And I kind of, the way I recorded my album was kind of this format, or this way that he kind of coached me on, and was like, hey, you should put it together your album like this. And so it's even though he's not here with us, it's still nice that I can remember everything that he told me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I try. It's not. I've been influenced by a lot of people in my life, I guess.
What's it like hitting the road, different towns, different cities, all over the United States, as well as many different venues? What's that like?
Well, every day's an adventure, and let me tell you that. But I mostly have very good positive experiences. I can't say that I have any too crazy stories. And I'm also very good about keeping the characters in my life. I have my boundaries. So, it is fun to go see different architectures, to go see the different influences, cultural influences too. So sometimes when we're like in Alabama, you see a lot more of the French, and that Cajun kind of architecture and lifestyle, or even the palette of the food. And of course, when I go up to the Northwest, I have so much fun. We got to cook a crab that was alive, and that's not something that you do in Texas.
Everything's fried in Texas, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, we got big old chicken fried steaks. We got all kinds of stuff that's fried. Yeah. So I love getting to experience different places, different cultures. Because even in America, we all think, oh, we're all similar, but man, we're all so different. It's really beautiful. It's really cool.
As I was doing recharge, I came across your schedule today. I went to the songwriterssamantha.com website. And I'm like, wait a minute. She's in Washington. She's going to be in Washington in 2 weeks. She's going to be in Port Orchard, Belfair, Seattle, Tacoma from June 1st to June 30th. I'm like, I get to see her in concert.
Yeah. I'm doing we're actually kicking it off in Port Orchard at Empire Pizza. We're gonna have a pizza party with all of our friends, some buddies of ours and everything. And then we're gonna go over to Richland, and we're gonna be headlining the Americana Country stage at the Tri-Town Get Down Festival at 7 o'clock on Saturday. So if you're planning on wanting to kick off your summer with a big festival, go out there, come on Saturday, and I'll be performing at 7 p.m. And then we're going. We'll be Tuesday. I'm going to head over to Olympia, and I'm going to be on Chaos Radio there. And then Wimby Island, I'll be at Dancing Fish, and then we're heading over to Orcas Island, Matthew Smokehouse, and then I'll be on the San Juan Island at Friday Harbor Sky Bar. And then I'm doing Bent Vine Brewery in Belfair, Washington, the Swedish Club in Seattle. The list goes on. I feel like I'm just going to be listing place after place. But definitely everyone should go check out the schedule at songwritersamantha.com. And I also have the tunes that you've been playing, that are going to be on the album that are coming out.
This has never happened before. I never had a musician going to be in my neck of the woods within a couple of weeks. So I'm so excited. I'm going to do my best to get to the Port Orchard or Belfair. Both are very, very close by. And I'd love to meet you in person and just kind of say hi.
Yes. No, I'd love to meet you in person. Take some pictures and hang out.
How did you get P&W connections? How did you get from, Texas is across the country, on the other side of the world almost, and so was Washington. How did you come across Washington and our neck of the woods?
Well, there is that cross connection with Seattle and Nashville and Austin all being music cities, and in New York and Chicago. So I feel like it's one of those just like hubs, like because I spent some time out in Nashville too, and I've spent some time out in New York City too. So it's kind of, it's crazy, but so when you're in the music, you start crossing paths with people in other cities, and of course I crossed paths with a fella that went over to Cornish over there in Washington, and we hit it off, and so now he spends time in Texas and I spend time in Washington. So and then we spend time all across the United States, everywhere else together.
So when someone comes to see you in concert, what kind of show are you putting on?
Well, it's Americana blues. It's soul. It's raw. It's very in your face. Not in your face in a bad way, but I got a lot of bright energy. I got a lot of energy. So it's a good show. It's a lot of fun. You know, I listen to a lot of Smothers Brothers. I don't know if you're familiar with them. So
Of course.
sometimes you'll see me doing a kind of poking fun and being silly, but you know, so I'm always entertaining.
Are you a coffee drinker?
Oh yes.
Okay. I'm just
Why do
checking.
you think I like the Northwest so
I know
much?
you're all
Oh my
jacked up with
gosh.
full energy. I know you gotta be drinking coffee. You gotta be.
Oh, always. Joe, do you want to hear a story? You want to hear a
I
story?
always want to hear a story, Sam.
I
Always.
always want to hear a story. Okay, so the town that I lived in, so my dad got out of the Air Force. We were in this little town called Seguin, right? There wasn't no coffee shops. There was nothing like, there wasn't really anything like that. You know what I mean? If you wanted coffee, you had to go to the gas station kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they opened up a Starbucks a city over. And I used to drive 15 minutes to go to a darn Starbucks. Isn't that crazy? And now I get to go to the Northwest and they got them everywhere.
Every corner we have coffee.
But I will stand corrected though. You know, Seguin did finally get a Starbucks, but by that time I had already moved away. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
This podcast
There's
actually
there-
is based on the
that's
coffee
about
shop
how
idea.
I'm pretty small town.
Yeah. So this podcast was actually based on a coffee shop idea. It's called Chit and Chat. I want to do a coffee shop, but it costs too much money, and there's coffee shops everywhere. So I brought it to a podcast. There's my for your coffee shops. Over the past few years, social media has just grown like crazy. How crucial is that when you get on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok sharing your music to the world?
Well, it's very important because, you know, we live in an era where people like to put a face to the name. And then when they see the face, well, then they want to know what you're about. And then they want to know your who you are at the core. And it turns into more than just being about the music. You know, it turns into being who you are at heart, you know, because I guess some people have had the experience where if they don't like the person or if they don't believe in the values that the person has, it kind of ruins the music for them. So I make a conscious effort to just be myself and to be authentic. You know, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but hey, you know, it's all right.
You be you. Let's share. Yeah, is your band always with you? The same guys, or you can rotate them out a little bit?
No, I do have a rotating band.
Okay.
So, because I do, so if you're familiar with Texas, Texas is absolutely huge, and so there's in two different parts of Texas, I have two different bands. So in the Houston area, I have gentlemen that play with me. And when I do those like Gulf Coast gigs over there, and then I have some gentlemen that play with me up in the Dallas Fort Worth area. You know, and then I have guys that play with me down here in this San Antonio, Austin area. And then when I go to Seattle, I have a whole set of guys that know my music and play with me there. So
cool.
Yeah, so I have many different musicians that know my music that know, okay, when Samantha calls, here's the gig, here's the details, here's everything. So because we can't being especially that being where everyone is so spread apart.
Yep.
You know.
How do you practice, or how do you just give them songs and kind of the playlist and they go for it, or what?
Yes, well, we do a practice usually, but we've all been professionally playing for about 15, years. So
that is so cool.
By that time, you give someone the charts, or I already have all my music put down, I guess, on paper, where I just hand it to them and they hear the music and they see it, and then boom, we have a practice and there we go.
Well, after your long trip in Washington here in June, a whole month of June, when you get back home and you're winding down a little bit, how do you decompress and relax? Where you said nature, do you just go for walks, or what do you do?
I love picking flowers. And then I also do go hiking too. When I'm up there in the Northwest, I do the hiking. Because in hiking in Texas, it's like, it's hot. I've tried it. It's not cute. And people do it, and they're brave. I can't hike, but I love hiking in the Northwest. I love seeing the waterfalls and the moss, and it's always a nice, cool 70 degrees. But when I'm down here in Texas, I love to go float down the river. I spend a lot of time near the cypress trees in the river and picking the wildflowers here. We have a lot of yellow flowers and Indian paintbrushes and sunflowers that grow naturally. So that's what I like to do. I like to pick the wildflowers, and I like to go hang out on the river to decompress. And then when I'm in the Northwest, I like to do the hiking.
That's awesome. And let me know when you get up here. Let me know what the time of the Empire Pizza. Let me know what time it is at Port Orchard. I'd love to meet you there and hear your music. Before I wrap up, I always ask the musician to kind of share some encouraging words. This is a positive, uplifting podcast of some words that you can share with someone who, a lot of musicians out there kind of just struggling a little bit, kind of not sure, about singing, or they're timid. What words of encouragement can you share with someone today can help them get over some of the nervousness of singing?
To get over the nervousness of singing, and just it's always be yourself, and always write about what you know about, and don't be scared. Don't be scared. Never let yourself hold yourself back, in a sense. I feel like we as people are harder on ourselves than what other people are. So never, when you start doubting yourself, just let it go. Just keep on going.
Not today, Satan.
Yeah, not today. No, don't let yourself be your own bully. Don't ever bully yourself. Always be like, look up in the mirror and be like, all right, we got this. I got the glory of God, I'm nothing. I always say I'm the light in the room. I'm the shining bright light. Everywhere I go, I bring joy, or I bring peace, or I bring a calming sense of bringing people together. And so if anybody's out there and they're struggling with the music, or they're struggling with the marketing, or how to do it, because it is hard, and you do get defeated some days, but always believe in yourself.
Amen.
Always cheerlead for yourself.
Well, thank you so much for the time. I'd love to we'll do a video chat here with you a little bit, and just kind of do a face-to-face, and thank you in person. But thank you so much. I wish you nothing but the best. Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks. Samantha,
yes,
thank you so much.
Very exciting.
We'll talk later. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Samantha Lynn, Dirty Little Secret.
You're sitting there so quietly, just trying to find a way to shout. It's all wound up in your mind, 'cause you know I found out your dirty little secret. Go ahead and tell him I'm the one that told the lies. Everyone here knows it's not me who wears a disguise. The best thing for you to do now is go and change your ways, 'cause you don't even know how much you're giving away. Your dirty little secret. Just because I know doesn't mean I'm going to tell. If I could take the sick away, I'd do it just to see you well. And I bet if you tried now, you could still make it out of the circles that you run into, keep everyone from hearing about your dirty little secret. Keeping from me, you come and go, but you leave something behind for me to see. It's not the broken rhymes are keeping up with my beat. Burning your lungs on that loyalty, you can't hardly breathe. Then you go flying around this town like you were Christopher Reeve. Superman wouldn't have to try to make us believe. Little lies get caught like flies inside the tangle webs they weave. You're sitting there so quietly, just trying to find a way to shout. It's all wound up in your mind, cause you know I found out your dirty little secret.
Well, it's time to take a quick break for our commercials, for our sponsors, sharing about local businesses here in the area. They've been part of this podcast for a while, and I'm always reaching out to other businesses, locally owned, veteran-owned, whoever wants to come on board, and I can share about them and their business and get their word out. So let's step away for about a minute or so to enjoy some commercials from our local sponsors. Are you craving donuts? I got a place for you to check out the most delicious donuts around. Come on down and check out my friends at Lone Star Donuts. They're a locally owned and operated business here in Kitsap County, and now they open their third location. They already had locations in Silverdale, Washington, Port Orchard, Washington, and now in Poulsbo, Washington, with over 50 kinds of donuts. I kid you not, 50 kinds of donuts. Many are filled, many are maple with bacon, real bacon, not that fake bacon. And now they have clutches. I had no idea what these were, but they're like a yeasty pastry with kielbasa on it, and they are so good. Check them out on Facebook, Lone Star Donuts. Their 3 locations are in Silverdale at 1087 Maury Place. My number is 360-204-5021. In Port Orchard at 2649 Mile Hill Drive. The number there is 360-443-2600. And now in Poulsbo at 21505 Marketplace, Suite 102. We all know you cannot buy happiness, but you can buy donuts. That's basically the same thing, right? Stop by and check out my friends at Lone Star Donuts. You can find them on Facebook as well. Lone Star Donuts, the best tasting donuts around. Hola, my friends. Hope you're doing well. Maybe you're getting a little hungry, so this little promotion for some businesses here in Silverdale might get you hungry. So if you're in the area, Kitsap County area, stop on by and see my friends at Tequiza, located at the Kitsap Mall in Silverdale. Their address is 10315 Silverdale, Washington. Their number is 360-698-4335. And on Tuesdays, you can go down and get your fill of tacos for 50% off. And now they have 6 kinds of tacos, so you can guarantee you'll get full on some tacos on Tuesday. They have burritos, chimichangas, taco salads. My favorite are the grilled jalapenos. And sometimes in the season, those jalapenos are super hot and super good. So go on down and see my friends at Tequiza at the Kitsap Mall. Also in Silverdale, they have a food truck called Tequiza Street. They have breakfast burritos, homemade flan, tacos, and churros too. All made with the freshest ingredients. Great customer service. Great staff. Their number is 360-200-7315. Located at 9571 Silverdale Way, Washington. That's 9571 Silverdale Way in Silverdale. Tequiza and Tequiza Street, great places for some authentic Mexican food. Go down and see them. Tell them Joey sent you from Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast, and get your feel on some delicious tacos. Here's another song by Samantha called People Today.
What's the matter with the people today? It seems the rich keep getting richer and the poor have to pay. Who's to say who's wrong and who's right? If you snuff out all the candles, boy, you'll never have to see the light. Writing the laws, and the laws are at war with the people they serve. My voice fell on deaf ears as I sang out the word. What's the matter with the people today? It seems the rich keep getting richer and the poor have to pay. Who's to say who's wrong and who's right? If you snuff out all the candles, boy, you'll never have to see the light. Comes in waves and everyone keeps running faster as we're racing to the grave, and the poor have to fight and the poor have to die. You think there's somebody up there who would hear all of these cries, hear all of my cries. What's the matter with the people today? Have come before. What's the matter with the people today? It seems the rich keep getting richer and the poor have to pay. Who's to say who's wrong and who's right? Snuff out all the candles, so you'll never have to see the
What do you get when you're a single mom that has a vision to a blooming full-time business? You go for it. That's what Amanda Zobrist has done. She has started the Dandelion Sticker Company. She has a knack to create almost anything. At the Dandelion Sticker Company, she can create tumblers, stickers, t-shirts, and much, much more. From little sizes to big sizes to really big sizes, she wants to make your vision a reality. Working with small businesses is her compassion in her community that allows her to make a meaningful impact on a local level. Looking for business to help you promote your business? Check out Dandelion Sticker Company. Her high quality stickers are perfect for your products, advertising your services, and getting your business out there for the world to see. I'm so excited that Chit and Chat, encouraging One Other Podcast, will be working with the Dandelion Sticker Company to create merchandise to sell in the future. please reach out and let us know what you might be interested in. Got some ideas that you want created for your business or personal use? Check out dandelionstickers.com. Dandelion Stickers is locally owned and operated in Silverdale, Washington, but you can reach her easily by emailing dandelionsticker.co@gmail.com. You can also find her on Facebook too. Make your vision a reality with the Dandelion Sticker Company today.
Our next group is from Seattle, Washington, called the Hipocrats, and they are American dreamers, seamlessly blending their hair-raising harmonies, spunky and lyrical imagery, and melodies that just stick with you. This is Tyler McGinnis and Sarah Brenner, Leaving.
Brother said he saw you flying on a paper plane right before you vanished in the clouds. It seems you finally made it past the things stuck in your way. Your mom and daddy must be pretty proud. I can't recall the last you called or try to get in touch, but I suppose you don't have much spare time, 'cause you're running races, reading faces, dreaming of wide open spaces up there on the continent divide. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love someone. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love someone. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love. The other day I stumbled on a pocket of our past. I couldn't help but think of what you said. If we were ever in a fight, it didn't matter who was right, just as long as we could settle it in bed. Well, I wish that much were true these days, now that we've gone our separate ways. It's hard to find my courage in a crowd, 'cause people come and people go. And frankly, dear, I hope you know I'll be here if I ever settle down. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love someone. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love someone. Sometimes leaving is the only way to love.
Great song there by the Hipocrats. This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging One Hour podcast. That's all it's about, encouraging others.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.